Hi to everyone. In this video, I'm just going to discuss about us how to find the factorial of a number using functions. Okay. So first, I'm going to type the comment section as this is the program. This is the program to find the factorial of a number. Factorial of a number. And then how to find the factorial means just for example I'm saying I'm taking the number 5, so I'm just going to find the factorial of a number 5. So it means 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, so which will be equal to 120, right? So this is about the methodology of finding the factorial of a number. In case if I wish to find a factorial of a 4 means 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, so that we will get the number 24. And if it is of a 3 factorial means we will get 3 into 2 into 1, such that we will get 6. Okay, so this is the methodology of finding the factorial of a number. Now let's implement this one. So as usual, first we can include the header file stdio.h and then hash include conio.h, then void main. Okay, so what I'm going to do it here is I'm just going to type int n and I'm just going to type the counter variable as I. Okay, so next I'm going to type clr ICR, then I'm going to type printf, it's for prompting the user, enter the number. So enter the number. Next I have to get the input, so that's why percentage %d ampersand n. So n is the input variable in which I am going to get the number for which I am going to calculate the factorial, right? So next I am going to type for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus, right? So here I am going to do these operations. You just see here 5 into 4. It means it will calculate the value of 5 into 4, and that result which will be multiplied with 3. And then it will that result which will be multiplied with 2 and then with 1. For example, 5 into 4 means 20. So 20 into 3 we will get 60. 60 into 2 we will get 120. 120 into 1 again, which will be equal to 120. So it's the operations implemented here is successive multiplications, right? So for doing these operations and for storing the result, I have to declare the output variable. I am declaring the output variable here as res. Okay, so and for doing this multiplication process, I am typing here as res equal to res equal to res into I. I may type here as res equal to 1 because at first I am just going to start my operations from 1. 1 into 1 I will get 1. Then the value of I will be incremented, then the value of I is equal to 2. So 2 into 1 I will get 2. Then the value of I will be incremented again, and now the value of I is equal to 3. So 3 means 2 into 3. The 2 into 3 means multiplying with the previous value of res, right? So I will get 6. Then 6 into 4, and in the same way, I will have 24 into 5, such that I will get 120, right? So just see here, I'm just going to print this one. So printf the factorial of percentage d is percentage d backslash n. Here I have to type n comma res, and then I can type get ch, right? Okay. So then as usual we can save our program. Okay. Now compile it. No errors. Run your program. Enter the number I am typing here as 5. So the factorial of 5 is 120. Right. Now we got the answer. But what I am going to do it here is I have implemented this program without functions. That means I have implemented this program using the main functions only. But now I would like to implement this program using the functions, using user-defined functions. So very easy process for converting your program into the program using user-defined functions. We are having several types of user-defined functions. Now we are going to discuss about the type functions with argument and with return type. Okay. So here we can change, this is a program to find the factorial of a number using function with argument and return type. Okay. So first thing I have to declare my user defined function. I have already mentioned here this function with argument and with return type. So definitely return type must be there. And what value I'm just going to return from the user defined functions? Of course, definitely the calculated value I have to return it. Here the calculated value is res. It means the data type of the variable res is int, right? That's why here I'm just going to type the return type as int, and the name of the user defined function as factorial, and I'm just going to pass the integer value here. Okay. So open parenthesis, I'm just typed int. Why I'm typing int here is since I'm going to pass the integer type of data as an argument, I have typed here as int. And don't forget to put semicolon in the function declaration. It's very important to put semicolon in the function declaration. Okay. And why I am declaring the function here is if we are going to define the user defined functions next to the main functions, means if we are going to define the user defined functions below the main functions means we have to give the information to the compiler about your user defined functions priorly before the main functions. The reason is the execution of our program as usual starts from the main functions only. Within the main functions we may call the user defined functions. So it's very important to give the information to the compiler about your user defined functions, or else we will get an error message. That's why it's very important to declare the function if we are going to define the user defined functions below the main functions. So here I am just going to define my user defined function. And while defining my user defined functions, it's very important to be the same. To be the same means the prototype of the function must be same. For example, here the return type of the user defined function is int. Here also in the function declaration also it's int, and the name of the function is factorial here, and here also factorial, including the case also it's same. And here I have passed the integer as an argument. I am just passing only one argument here, and here also it's int. So it's good. Whenever if you are going to define the user defined functions, it must the function header must matches with the function declaration which we have declared here. Okay, so after doing these things, what I'm just going to do it here is I'm just going to convert this program into the function with argument and with return type, as I said earlier. We have already discussed if it is of a function with argument means we will get the input in the main function itself. And a function with return type means we will print the output in the main function only. So what we are going to do it in the user defined function means simply we are just going to do the implementation part only. So here these are all the statements for getting the input, and this is the statement for printing the output. So what's the rest of the thing? The implementation is these two lines only. So simply we can cut these lines and we can introduce here. Okay, we can introduce those lines in the user defined functions. But please be careful. Here we have declared the variable of n, but this n is a local variable to the main function. So local variable means the value of the variable n can be accessible only within the main functions only. So I couldn't access the value of n outside the main functions. It means I couldn't access the value of n in the user defined functions factorial. So what I'm just going to do it here is I have to pass this value of n to my user defined functions factorial. For passing that one, here I'm just going to make use of this statement res equal to factorial of n. So factorial of n is a statement which will be called as function call. Already we have discussed as a function when we are function definition we have discussed, and we have discussed about the function call, and function declarations, right? So in this video we have discussed about the function declarations, and now we are defining the function. And what about the function call is once if we have defined the functions, we have to call that functions, then only the statements within that functions which will be executed. Okay, so it's a function call. While calling the functions, I'm just going to pass the input variable here n, and the data type of this input variable here is integer only. So no problem at all. It matches with the function definitions and declarations also. So simply we can pass the variable n here. And the copy of the variable n, which will be sent to the variable n1. It means, just for example, I am saying in case n is equal to 5 means this 5 which will be passed from this main function to the user defined functions n1. Passed means a copy of the data which will be sent to the variable n1. So actually we are sending the informations n from the main function to the user defined functions. The value which was sent by the main functions which will be received by the user defined functions by means of the variable n1. Okay. So when we are printing the value of n1 here means we will get the value of 5 here. Okay. So if you are having any doubt here means we can even print that value to percentage d. Yeah, or else we can type the value of n1 is percentage d. Percentage d n1. Okay, percentage d n1 here. Okay, so first value of n1 will be printed. It will be printed as 5. Okay, so here I can change the limit as n1. And next one, what about the variable res means definitely just like the variable n, I couldn't access the variable res too. So here I can declare one more variable as int f equal to 1. F equal to 1 means here I have to change it as f equal to f into I. Everything is same only, simply I am just changing this one. Okay, so the implementation part is over. The next one main thing is we have already mentioned it's a program function with argument and with return type, right? So if it is of a return type means we have to send some informations from the user defined functions to the main functions. Okay, so here you can consider main as the transmitter, which is transmitting the informations to the user defined functions, and you can consider here factorial is a user defined functions which is sending the acknowledgement to the sender main functions. Okay, so in this example you can consider main as the sender and factorial as the receiver. Usually when I'm posting the letter to you means I'm the sender. Once if you have received that letter means then you are the receiver, right? So after receiving that letter you will send the acknowledgement to me, right? Just like that, this factorial is sending some informations to the main functions. What type of informations this factorial is going to send means simply it is going to return the value f. So the values which will be returned from the user defined functions to the functions where we are calling the user defined functions will be achieved by means of the keyword return. So here I am typing return f. It means I am just going to return the value of f. And consider here the data type of the variable f is int. That's why here we have given the return type of the user defined function factorial as int. So that's all. Where this value f will be returned means where you are calling the function. Here I have called the factorial of n in this place only. So here only the value will be returned, and that returned value which will get stored in the variable res. So how the program execution would be is, first the execution as usual starts from main, and then it prompts the user to enter the number. In case if the user is entering the number as 5 means here the factorial of 5 which will be invoked. It means the compiler which will call the user defined function factorial. By the time program control shifted from the main function to the user defined functions, and it just print the value of n1, then these operations which will be executed, and it will calculate the value of f. So the value of f which will be calculated as 120. How it would be calculated means as just like the methodology that we have already seen. First I is equal to 1. By that time it will calculate 1 into 1, and then that 1 which will get stored in the variable f. Next I value will be incremented. So I is equal to 2. So 2 into 1 2. So 2 which will get loaded into the variable f. So this process which will be repeated until the value of I is equal to the value of n1. It means until the value of I is equal to 5. Once it is equal to 5 means by that time also it will calculate f into 5. So it will calculate the value 24. I'm sorry. What's the value? First 1 into 2 we will get 2, and then we will get 2 into 3 means 6 we will get, then 6 into 4 24, then 24 into 5 means we will get 120 here. But you have to consider here only we have declared the variable of I. We haven't declared the variable of I here, so we have to declare it here. Okay. So after doing all these things, after the calculations, once the value of I reaches 6 means automatically the condition failed in the for loop, because the condition given here is I less than or equal to n1, right? So 6 is greater than n1, so comes out of the for loop. By that time we are returning the value from the user defined functions to the main functions. So the value 120 which will be returned here. Returned here means it will be returned where we have called these user defined functions. So 120 which will be returned here, and that 120 which will get stored in the variable res. So after doing these things, we can print the value of the factorial. So automatically the program controls comes to this line, and the value which will be printed, and get ch will be executed, and then the program execution stops. Here the main function is a function which is calling the user defined function called factorial. That's why we can say main as the calling function, and factorial is a user defined function which is called by the main function. That's why we can say factorial as a called function. Okay, so this is about the function with argument and with return type. Now let's see the execution. So first we can save the changes. Next we can compile our program. No error message. Then run our program. Let's enter the number. I'm typing here as 5. Yes, the value of n1 is 5. You just see here, the value of n1 is 5 means your program control is shifted from the main program to the user defined functions, because the value of n1 that we have given within the user defined function, that's why it is printed as 5. This is the first thing. And next one thing, you are getting the value, you are getting the input by means of the variable n only. But you are printing that same value by using the variable n1 means from this output itself easily you can understand the main function is sending the value 5 to the user defined functions factorial, right? So the value of n, the copy of the value of the variable n is sent to the variable n1. So n1 is the variable which is receiving that value. That's why it is printed the value as the value of n1 is 5. Right? That's all. Then the output, how the output is printed means actually 120 is calculated within the user defined functions only, right? But what's happening here is we are returning that 120 to the main functions. Even though if you are returning, that returned value gets stored in the variable res and it has been printed successfully. So this is a methodology of solving your program by using the functions of the type with argument and with return type. I hope that you have understand the concepts clearly. In case if you are having any doubts, kindly post your queries. Thank you.